At CES 2025, I was impressed by Jensen's keynote about Nvidia RTX 50 graphics, and I thought, yup, I'm going to spend £1,000 on an RTX 5080 Founders Edition, and that will be useful for motherboard and CPU testing, and also for PC builds when I'm reviewing new cases. Simultaneously, I was frustrated by AMD, who told us about their RDNA 4 graphics before CES, and then at CES, for some peculiar reason, they failed to launch those graphics, even though we saw physical graphics cards at the AMD booth and other places. So I left CES. I put in a call, placed an order verbally for an RTX 5080, and to date it hasn't appeared because supply has been crazy short. It so happens reviews of 50 series have been disappointing, to say the least. So I've changed my tune. I've switched from Nvidia to AMD, and I've been shopping. And now we're going to perform an unboxing, and I'm going to explain my reasoning. Step 1 is to unwrap my new graphics card, and I'm going to take slightly more care than I might do if it was somebody else's, as this is mine, although I haven't yet paid for it. Price is still TBA. And packaging, of course. PowerColor Red Devil Limited Edition. Just going to take everything out of the box and I'll see what I've got. I think this is just pure packaging, nothing hidden below. Yep. These must be GPU supports. It's a thing. It can wait. Here we have a keycap. I open. You see, I say I'm going to take care and I actually break something of my own. Where the heck did that come from? Oh, I see. That was the latching mechanism. Put that to one side. So there we go. Little keycap with actual mini rotating fans. Must confess I quite like that. A sticker. And an RGB cable. And then we have the graphics card itself. PowerColor Red Devil RX 9070 XT. You may or may not be able to see that. 987 out of 1500, which makes me fairly average. And let's do a quick peel. And apart from the fact it's a full-size triple fan graphics card, which means it's going to be useful for case reviews. Can you install the graphics card in the whatever the heck case is? How does it work in terms of cooling? These are very important questions. It's a 300 watt or so power draw. That's also going to be important because tragically I treat this thing as much as a heater as I do as a graphics card. But the big reason for me wanting to buy this particular graphics card rather than a GeForce RTX 5080 is the fact it has triple 8-pin power connectors rather than the 12-volt 2x6 connector that has become the latest thing. From the point of view of aesthetics, I quite like these new 12-volt 2x6 connectors rated at 600 watts on the latest ATX 3.1 power supplies. However, I feel much more reassured seeing 2 or 3 of these PCI Express connectors because you've got more cables and you've got more bulk to the connectors. One of these is very similar in size to one of these. 2 or 3 gives you more scope for safety. And this is the thing. An RTX 3080 was rated at 320 watts, the 3090 at 350 watts, RTX 4080 rated at 330 watts, RTX 4090 450 watts. And now with the RTX 5080 we're up to 360 watts, so the 80 series is fairly consistent. and the RTX 5090 600 watts. In other words, a single 12 volt 2x6 connector has essentially no safety margin whatsoever. Now we know they do build in some extra on top of the nominal 600 watts, but we're into tiny handfuls of percentages. It makes sense to me for RTX 5090 to have two of these connectors, and then the 5080 and 5070 can have one. But that's not the way that Nvidia has gone. The new 5090s have a single connector, and we've seen all sorts of reports of trouble. And that's ridiculous to my mind, because the RTX 4090 had reports of connectors melting. There have been reports with 5090 of problems, and we saw an excellent video from Roman der Bauer Hartong, who cut various wires to show that the balancing inside the new 50 series graphics cards is non-existent. In other words, the connection points for these different wires doing the 12 volts, it's a common rail. Nominally you should be looking at about 9 amps through each of the 6 12 volt cables, but in practice this can fluctuate. You might see as little as 6 or 7 amps, and in Roman's case he showed 2 cables running at 25 amps, which surely would have led to catastrophic failure in no short order. Absolutely nuts. Why Nvidia only used a single 12 volt 2x6 connector on 5090, I do not understand. I, of course, was not looking at 5090 for that very reason. I was looking at 5080. And the other reason, the final nail in the coffin for my buying decision, was that Nvidia has reported they have a problem with missing ROPs. A single block of missing ROPs, and Nvidia says that this affects a tiny handful of owners. I asked my Nvidia rep about this. Now, I'm not absolutely certain whether this was intended as a quiet conversation or for publication, but it's a work question, so I'm going to give you the words without actually just repeating the message. I said, ref missing ROPs, what percentage of GPUs are tested before they are supplied to board partners or used in Founders cards? Remember, the Founders Edition, the card I was thinking of buying for £1,000, is entirely in the hands of Nvidia. They get the GPUs made and then they supply them to whoever makes their cards. I think it's Foxconn, and then the final products are sold by Nvidia or on Nvidia's behalf. My question was, what percentage of GPUs are tested? And the response came back, we test all GPUs. This ROP issue was a test escape. Well, in the sense they missed it, that is certainly true, but it strikes me as a somewhat unsatisfactory answer. In fact, it's beyond explanation. So how does Nvidia know how many people are affected if this is a test escape? Gamers Nexus went to town in the Gamers Nexus manner and suggested that the answer might not be 100% accurate. Basically, it is unknowable. The other concern is it's not just 5090, it's also 5080. Who knows if 5070 is affected? In other words, the GPU I was thinking of buying, to my mind, has an unsatisfactory power connector, and some of them fail. Plus there have been various reports about things like driver problems causing black screens. And the performance is quite unsatisfactory. 50 series over 40 series, but a minor uplift. So you're paying a heap of money for not a lot of anything. And that's why Dominic's reviews on Kit Guru have been rather unfavourable. If you're in line to buy one, good luck to you. But we're not really that impressed by this new series of graphics card at Kit Guru. And that is why I've given up on the idea of buying a 5080, and I've gone with this PowerColor Red Devil Special Edition graphics card of my very own.